All right, let's talk about something huge in the world of innovation, partnerships. I mean, they're everything, right? But let's be honest, so often they're just temporary, kind of transactional. What if you could change that? What if you could turn those one-off projects into these powerful, long-term strategic alliances? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're diving into a playbook that shows you exactly how.
So this is the big question, isn't it? It's something that so many of us face, whether you're in a university lab or a tech startup. How do you actually break that endless, frantic cycle of finding a brand new partner for every single project? I mean, how do you build something that actually lasts, something that delivers massive value, not just today, but for years to come?
Okay, so first things first, let's really get clear on the problem here. That traditional way of finding partners, especially when you're chasing big grant applications, well, it's kind of broken. It's totally transactional, super short-sighted, and honestly, it's just plain exhausting.
Just think about it for a second. You've got this tight grant deadline looming, right? So you scramble, you find some collaborators, you work like crazy for a short burst. But then what happens? The application goes in and, win or lose, that connection just sort of fizzles out. It fades away. And that whole cycle just burns through your time, your energy, your resources, all things you could be using to build something with real, lasting strength. It's not sustainable, no way.
So what's the alternative? What's the fix? Well, it all starts with a huge shift in mindset. We've got to stop thinking about partners as just temporary helpers for a single project. Instead, we need to start seeing them as long-term allies. You know, people who are in it with us for a shared mission. And I've got a model that absolutely nails this.
So this playbook we're going to walk through comes from an organization called Project Factory. They're a European academy focused on social development, really high-impact stuff. And they had a problem. They needed a much better way to collaborate with universities, specifically with their technology transfer offices, the TTOs. And the model they came up with? It's just brilliant.
This quote right here, this is the whole ballgame. It's the absolute game changer. It completely reframes the entire conversation. See, you're not just asking for help on one project. You're proposing to build a shared engine for continuous innovation. And that, right there, is the crucial shift in thinking.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work in practice? Let's break it down. We're going to look at the anatomy of this alliance, the why, the what, and the how, all the pieces that make it so incredibly powerful.
The magic really starts with synergy. It's not about finding a partner who's just like you. No, it's about finding one with complementary strengths, like two perfect puzzle pieces clicking together. You've got Project Factory, who are experts in designing and managing these big EU projects. Then you have the university TTO, bringing that deep academic knowledge and all the infrastructure for commercialization. You put them together, boom! They cover the entire innovation pipeline, from idea to impact. And this slide, it just brilliantly shows how deep this collaboration really goes. I mean, we're not just talking about co-writing proposals here, not at all. They work together on everything. They're producing academic evidence, running pilot programs in actual university labs, commercializing the results. They're even training each other's staff to build up that capacity for the future. It's a truly, truly integrated system.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds kind of complex, right? But it's all held together by a super clear and practical operational model. They have a yearly agreement, an MOU to set the terms. They use a shared system, they call it call intelligence, so everybody knows what opportunities are on the horizon, and they have a quick way to divvy up tasks for each one. This isn't some informal handshake deal, it's a professional, well-oiled machine.
So, the big question is, how do you actually build something like this? How do you take it from just a cool idea to a real-world partnership? Well, the good news is the model gives us some really tangible tools, a literal playbook for getting the whole thing started off on the right foot.
Okay, it all kicks off with something called the opener. And let me tell you, this is not your typical, hey, want to partner on this one grant email? No way. This is a strategic invitation. It says right up front that the goal is a long-term framework that's going to cover multiple programs. That immediately elevates the conversation and shows them you're a serious strategic player.
Then, after you've had a good first meeting, you follow up with the closer. And this thing is powerful. It's just a one-page document, not some long, complicated contract. It's a super concise summary of your shared goals, the project pipeline you've talked about, and those all-important performance indicators. It basically takes all that good conversation and crystallizes it into a clear, actionable plan that everybody can get excited about and rally behind.
And hey, speaking of performance indicators, check this out. The partnership sets a really bold shared goal, a success rate of at least 40% on their applications. Think about that. This isn't just about collaborating for the sake of it. This is about winning. Having a concrete target like that forces both partners to focus on delivering incredibly high-quality work. It's a world away from that low success rate scramble we were talking about before.
So, when it comes right down to it, why does this model just flat out win against the old way of doing things? Let's quickly break down the key advantages that make this framework a total game changer.
First off, you get sustainability. You're not just winning one grant, you're building the institutional muscle to win over and over again. It's way more efficient because you're creating a steady pipeline of projects, not just a bunch of frantic sprints. The impact is bigger, too, because you're blending that deep academic rigor with expert real-world implementation. And ultimately, you're not just helping your two organizations, you end up strengthening the entire innovation ecosystem around you.
And that brings us to one final big thought to leave you with. Okay, so this specific playbook was designed for a partnership between a social innovation academy and a university TTO. But the principles behind it, they're totally universal. So I want you to think about your own field, your own work. Where could you apply this model? Where could you stop chasing those one-off projects and start building a real long-term strategic alliance? The possibilities really are everywhere.